Right then, hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, bits of me are itching in a way you wouldn't believe. My name is Paul, I'm also called Knickknack, I'm the brains behind Knickknack's Daily Teaser. I also talk about movies when I get a chance to see them. I may or may not be watching some soon. I also talk about TV shows I'm watching whilst simultaneously scratching my eyeball. Yes, that possibly makes sense or maybe not, but there we go. I talk about TV shows I've been watching, and just recently I've been watching Stranger Things. I'll have that and the daily teasers tucked in the eye in the corner there, hopefully. I've also been watching Star Trek Picard's second series. Friday night, last night in fact, the 26th, saw me watching the last episode of the series, Farewell, and I thought, as I have on previous weeks, I thought I should tell you what I thought. Episode 10, Farewell, opens with a summary of previous episodes, including the departing words from Durati, the new Borg Queen, who we see leave town in the previous episode, last week's episode, episode 9. She tells us that there's going to be two Renees, one who lives and one who dies. Things shift to show us the Admiral Picard, telling Rios and Talis, so this is Patrick Stewart, Santiago Cabrera and Orla Brady. He tells the two latter characters about how the unchanged but ruined Chateau Picard told him that the future seemed to be on course, but he's not sure. Talon, however, has an idea about how she can help, one that she's not quite ready to share just yet. It's only once the three are joined by Raffi and Seven, Michelle Hurd and Jerry Ryan, that they transport back to Talon's base in Los Angeles and agree to split up to try and do different things. Raffi, Seven and Rios will head for Dr. Sung's, Brent Spiner's office, to try and stop his plans, whilst Talon heads for the Europa mission launch pad, joined at the last minute by Admiral Picard himself. Post-titles, we see a long shot pulling in through the solar system from just beyond Jupiter to arrive at the Europa base where Admiral Picard and Talon have just arrived. She's determined to save Renee at any cost, but the Admiral is determined she not waste her life in what he feels could be a pointless, risky gesture. Meanwhile, Raffi, Seven and Rios have arrived at Sung's office only to find a thing or two. Sung has long since fled, where they don't know. 2. He set up automated military drones, set them up to track the Europa rocket at launch and destroy it in orbit. And 3. What they don't know is that Sung is at the launch pad. Raffi, Seven and Rios have only one desperate last option, to try and hijack at least one of the drones to destroy the rest before they destroy the rocket. Back at Mission Control, Sung has managed to persuade the base director to let him in and pulled rank on her so that he can find Renee. Sung simply wants to meet Renee so he can shake her by the hand before Talon gets anywhere near. What the Doctor doesn't know is that Renee, the Renee Picard he meets, isn't exactly who she seems. Now, what did I make of Farewell and what did I make of the series? First things first, let's talk about Farewell. I have to admit, this is a very well written, very well directed, and very well acted episode. The twist that Talon has disguised herself as Renee and effectively sacrificed her life to save the latter and to guarantee the future was possibly a little telegraphed, a little obvious. I worked it out within minutes of the opening shot of Picard and Talon get into the base. It was telegraphed, it was obvious, but it was extremely well done nonetheless. It really was. As was Talon's death. It helped we have quite a pair of heavyweights in Brady and Stewart playing that scene. Then there's the last scenes between Q and the Admiral. Again, these are emotionally done. They have to be. Both characters are getting older, and one of them, Q, is dying. There's also, and it's all over the internet, it's all over YouTube, there's also that last little scene where Corey, Icy Briones, meets a certain Mr. Wesley Crusher, played, as ever, by the guy that usually played him, whose name totally escapes me. I hate that when that happens, but there you go. That's getting older and wrinkly for you. At any rate, Corey gets to meet Wesley Crusher, and the scene where he recruits her for the Travellers is wonderful to watch. It really is. I have to admit, seeing that scene, it sounds like Wesley's new cohorts, new employers, are sound to me very resonant. They very much reminded me of, if you've read Terry Pratchett's Discworld novels, Thief of Time in particular, you'll know about the history monks who fill the same function on the Discworld that Wesley's watchers seem to do in Star Trek. They watch, and they make sure history goes the right way. Something I found very, very familiar, very good to see. So overall, I have to say the episode was great. But, and you could tell there's a but coming, can't you? My only concern is sort of the reverse of something I found about the full series of Stranger Things. With that full series, I felt some of the episodes were quite possibly a little too long. One or two were well paced but long. One or two had me fidgeting and were long. It's something I felt that instead of having 9 episodes of anything up to 2 hours and 40 minutes in length, it maybe would have been better to have 10 to 12 episodes of a shorter duration, maybe an hour. I don't know, but that's what I felt. Again, it's well done, but some of the episodes were, to quote Mark Kermode, maybe half an hour too long. At any rate, with farewell, with this episode of Star Trek Picard, the reverse was the case. It's possibly 10 minutes too short. It's telling us a lot of story. It's telling us the story of Rene Picard's mission. It's telling us how the heroes of the piece made sure that mission went ahead. And that bit of the episode felt a little rushed. It had to do 2 jobs. It had to finish off that story and to finish off the series arc as well. And with 2 sets of stories to tie up, it felt rushed. Maybe 10 minutes extra, maybe even just 5 minutes extra, I think could have helped just to develop that section of the story. Did it spoil the episode for me? No, it didn't. It's just something I felt could have been helpful. It is still a well-made episode and a very good series finale. Just one that seemed rushed. Did that rushed finale spoil my enjoyment of the series? Absolutely not. Again, this has been, for the most part, a perfectly timed, perfectly paced overall series. It's 10 episodes of absolute sheer joy. And apart from the one problem with this last episode, it's been a great thing to watch. It's left me looking at all sorts of things. John Delancey, the one thing that springs to mind there is that man has aged disgustingly well. I hope I look that good at his age. He's in his mid-70s, I think, and he's looking disgustingly well on it. So there's all sorts of stuff going on with that series, both cast, plotting, little fan references throughout. The second or third episode where they travel forward in time, or travel backwards in time to get to the 21st century. There's a nice number of references there to a similar series, a similar episode in the original series where they do the same thing. They slingshot around the sun. So there's all those little things cropping up in there that add to the world building. I found absolutely wonderful to see. Frankly, I'm leaving this episode with 3 stars out of the usual 4, just to reflect that 10 minutes they could have done, but overall, the series has averaged at 3.9 stars. I've enjoyed it. I can heartily recommend it to you, and I can possibly also get you singing Piaf non je ne regrette rien.
My French is atrocious, isn't it?
Now, just as a last word, you'll have noticed I finished watching both Stranger Things and Star Trek Picard. I'm going to have the next few Tuesdays and Fridays free for a few weeks, and I'm going to try and concentrate on doing some stuff I have to do at home. Quite what I will be watching next, I don't know. I've got a few series lined up, amongst them Star Trek Strange New Worlds, amongst other things, and possibly a couple of other things as well. There's also, in October, Jodie Whittaker's last episode of Doctor Who, so I'll be watching that and reviewing it as soon as I get a chance to. I'm also going to try and watch a few films, because I seem to have access to quite a few. So please, keep your eyes on my Twitter, Facebook and Instagram accounts. I'll put the relevant details up in this video and on my blog. Please follow me, please subscribe, and when I release more videos and more content, you will be the first to hear about it. See you next time, take care, have a very good week. It's Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton plays Wesley Crusher. It always happens miles away from when you need to remember it.